Under the scorching hush of an early spring morning, a man opens a cage door for a cub who has already lost everything. Ribs pressed against skin, eyes wild with grief. This cheetah cub has no name yet, no trust, no reason to believe humans mean anything but pain. What happens over the next year will change everything. She doesn't run to him. She doesn't cower either. She simply turns her face away, and in that single small motion, an entire war is being fought. The Wildlife Rescue Center had called it plainly: a starving cub, parents gone, ribs visible beneath a coat that should have been sleek and gold. The man had prepared everything a cheetah could need: a soft bed, a wide sandbox, a wooden platform to climb, toys hanging just out of reach. Everything except the one thing that couldn't be built or bought: her trust. She would be called Gerda, and Gerda did not want to be touched. She paced the edges of her new enclosure instead, nose low, testing every corner as if the ground itself might betray her. When the man reached out and laid his hand gently on her back, she turned away, not with violence, not with fear exactly, but with the quiet, devastating refusal of a creature who had already learned that the world takes more than it gives. Days passed, then more days. The man did not push. He simply showed up, again and again and again. He watched her dig in the sandbox, watched her leap onto the wooden platform with a lightness that hinted at the animal she used to be before hunger and loss reshaped her into something smaller, warier, harder to reach. And then, one ordinary afternoon, he slowly held out his hand. No plan, no expectation, just an open palm and a kind of patience that asked for nothing. Gerda hesitated. The seconds stretched unbearably long. And then, so lightly it was almost nothing at all, she stuck out her tongue and licked his fingertip. It was such a small thing. It was everything. From that moment, the distance between them began to close, not in leaps, but in inches. He filled a steel bowl with water, and she drank it in soft, contented gulps, a sound that told him more than words ever could. She felt safe enough to relax, if only for a moment. When he misted the cage with water on a hot day, she reached out one curious paw to touch the spray, then jumped back startled. And something in her wide-eyed surprise made the man laugh out loud, right there in the heat of the afternoon. Tiny footprints began appearing all over the enclosure floor, evidence of a life becoming more comfortable, more curious, more alive. But it was the quiet moments that carried the deepest weight. The day the man sat with a soft brush and began working it gently through her fur, and the once proud, once terrified cub simply lay down and let him. She stretched her limbs out long, narrowed her eyes in something like contentment, and then, carefully, clumsily, she reached up and licked the top of his head. A thank you, the kind that doesn't need words. His wife would sit beside the enclosure too, speaking softly, and Gerda would approach on her own, resting her heavy head in her lap until her breathing slowed into something calm and unguarded. The weight of that head, once a symbol of exhaustion and loss, had become something else entirely, a sign of peace. She began exposing her pale belly on the floor, limbs sprawled, utterly defenseless, the single clearest signal any cheetah can give that the world finally feels safe. And yet, she was still Gerda, still fiercely independent, the way cheetahs are built to be. She didn't wag her tail like a dog or beg for constant affection like a house cat. Instead, her love came in flickers. She would trot toward the man, slow just one step before reaching him, and veer away as if she hadn't meant to come at all. She wanted him. She simply wasn't going to make it easy to see. He didn't mind. If anything, he cherished it more. Then one day, something happened that tested everything they had built. Another wild animal appeared just beyond the mesh of her enclosure. A shadow, a rival, a reminder of a world she hadn't fully left behind. Gerda paced back and forth, refusing to look away, every muscle in her changing body tensed and alert. Because her body had changed. The ribs that once told a story of starvation were gone now, buried beneath firm, healthy muscle. She had grown rounder, stronger, a cheetah rebuilt, quite literally, from nothing. The man kept showing up anyway. He cleaned her enclosure, wiped down the glass, rolled paper tubes across the floor just to see what she'd do. She'd sniff them once, unimpressed, and turn her gaze back to him instead, as if he, not the toy, was the only thing in the room worth watching. And then came the moment nobody was quite prepared for. While he was cleaning one afternoon, Gerda approached him quietly, and without warning she dropped to the ground and rolled onto her back, belly exposed, body completely open, completely unguarded. The man froze. This was the same animal who, 1 year earlier, had turned her face away from a single gentle touch. Now she was offering him everything, all at once, with no hesitation at all. He reached down and touched her. The warmth beneath his fingers bore no resemblance to the frailty he'd felt on the very first day. This was not a starving cub anymore. This was a survivor, and she trusted him completely. That trust only deepened as the seasons turned. He attached tiny butterfly wings to her back as a joke, and she strutted around as dignified as ever, utterly unbothered by how ridiculous she looked, which made him laugh until his sides ached. When the first snow of winter arrived, Gerda stood frozen at the window, staring at a world she had never seen before, silver and impossible. When the man finally opened the door to the wider garden, she stepped out, and then she ran. She ran like something unleashed, pawing at the snow, climbing to high ground, just to look out over all of it, claiming a world that was, for the first time in her life, entirely hers. Not every fear vanished, though. Come summer, she refused to step into the shallow watering hole he'd built for her, no matter how invitingly it shimmered. And so he let her refuse it. He never forced her, because he understood by now that trust is a fragile thing, and the fastest way to lose it is to demand more than an animal is ready to give. She began coming inside the house. She'd wander into the kitchen where his wife was cooking and rub against her legs, begging shamelessly for scraps. A full member of the family now in every way that mattered. When offered a choice between a stuffed toy and a slice of watermelon, she didn't hesitate for a second. The watermelon won every time, even when a piece of it landed, forgotten, right on top of her head, oblivious as ever. On the 1-year anniversary of the day she arrived, the man decorated the house with balloons and streamers. Gerda wandered through it all, tilting her head, utterly confused by the fuss, but she noticed, without question, that there was more chicken than usual on her plate that day. That she understood completely. By the second winter, she was chasing colorful balls across the snow with the man's wife, bounding like an oversized kitten, pausing to pant and then launching herself forward all over again. Pure, unfiltered vitality, where there had once been only starvation and fear. There had been no dramatic rescue mission, no single miracle moment. Just a man who showed up every single day, who respected her silence as much as her affection, who let her set the pace of her own healing, feeding her in the mornings, playing with her in the evenings, one unremarkable day after another, quietly building something unbreakable. And Gerda, in her own way, gave everything back, in a lick to the fingertip, in a head resting in a lap, in a belly bared without fear. That is how trust is built between a wild heart and a patient hand. Not all at once, but one small, brave moment at a time. Tonight she sleeps peacefully, warm and safe, in the only place she has ever truly called home.